So it was my birthday week and weekend, so I had a little bit of a hiatus, but I did also happen to double feature two films at an independent theater locally nearby. And I'm going to be talking about both in separate videos, starting with Fallen Leaves first. Fallen Leaves is a film that is being talked about a little bit more now. It came out in 2023, but I think it started to get a wider release in pretty much now. But it's being talked about like with more reviewers and about Oscar season and stuff like that. It's a foreign film. This is a Finnish film. And I thought I was already late to the game with this one, but apparently not, because when I saw it, I just happened to see more and more people talk about it afterwards. And this is a very, very dry film. Apparently the director has a slew of films under his belt. I'll have to look them up. But this one, first of all, I do really like foreign cinema, and I like a lot of dialogue, and I like dry films. This one wasn't too long either. This is like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. It really flew by. And I like this kind of cinema where it's, you know, small, nothing really happens kind of thing, as people say. And it's just like a really tiny piece of somebody's life kind of thing. Unfortunately, I was a little bit disappointed with Fallen Leaves. It left me kind of dry, no pun intended. I don't know, this one just didn't seem to work for me. Now, after thinking about it a little bit more, and after my viewing experience, after leaving the theater, seeing other reviews on it and thinking about this film a little bit more kind of made me, I guess, it gave this film a little bit more rewatch value, and I definitely want to give it another chance, because I hate to just write this one off kind of thing, especially since it is kind of the kind of films that I would usually like. But for some reason with this first time watch, it didn't really work for me. Premise-wise, it's basically about this guy who drinks too much, and he attends the bar with his roommate slash friend, whoever he is. And there's this woman, and she is basically in a rut when it comes to work. She recently gets let go from a job, and then she goes on to a slew of new jobs, one after the other, whether they don't work out or whether she has to leave or whether she gets let go of those. Work is just not in her strong suit at the moment, and she also is like kind of povertish, like not too much, but it's a modern day film. But this film, it feels older. It feels like it's from the 70s or 80s, but it's definitely taking place in modern day. Throughout the entire thing, pretty much, you hear on news broadcasts and radios and stuff like that the Ukrainian and Russian war is going on. So it's pretty much in the midst of that time. And she meets this guy who drinks too much, and then they start this like awkward liking to each other. Their dialogue is really awkward, but all of the dialogue is really awkward in this film. It's really funny because in the middle of the film, they go to a cinema, and this is my favorite aspect of the film. In the cinema, they were playing The Dead Don't Die by Jim Jarmusch, which I have a review for that film on this channel. And I loved seeing that film in here because I really do like that film. And I think that the director obviously likes that style of filmmaking, because I can see a lot of parallels when it comes to the style of this film. It involves a lot of people just standing in still shots and having conversations with each other, like back and forth. One says something, one says something. That'll go on for a bit. And the dialogue is kind of humorous in like an awkward, dry way. Like I said, The Dead Don't Die works wonders. It works perfectly for me. This one just didn't, maybe because it's you know, a cultural thing, or maybe I just wasn't feeling it that time, and with another rewatch I'll be like, oh shit, now I get it, what was I missing? That's happened many times. But The Dead Don't Die being in this film was really funny and kind of says a lot. There's also this other scene, again, with these two people just talking to each other, and in the background you can hear this drug dealer guy being arrested by the police, and he's arguing with the cops, and the cops are like trying to drag him into the car. You don't see any of this, but you just hear the dialogue and what's going on, and it's funny that way, because you just have these two people on screen having a conversation with each other while this like background fight is going on between this criminal and the cops. And I found that one of the funnier scenes in the film. But you know, it's pretty few and far between with what worked for me and what didn't work for me. This film also ends extremely abruptly. Like, I was like, the two characters start walking off and it started to feel like it was ending, and then it just, the credits rolled and I was like, right there, like it almost felt like there was no wraparound. Like, I'm not going to get into the climax or anything or what happens at the end of the film to avoid spoilers, but this film doesn't feel to wrap up, and I guess that's the point, because it's just supposed to be a small snippet of both of these characters' lives, and you don't get really many answers at all. Again, probably the point, but in this kind of film, it was just very few answers. Like, slim to none is what I mean by that. And I don't know, I didn't see what these characters saw in each other. I didn't understand whether they were going to continue or not continue seeing each other. I didn't get that either of them learnt anything. You know, they, especially with the guy, there is an arc that he goes through involving his drinking, but there's no, like, conclusion to his story, and there's certainly no conclusion to the woman's story that I found. It just feels very empty and just quick and pointless. And I hate saying that, but, like, I don't want to trash on the movie. It wasn't a horrible experience or anything. It's just the definition of dry. Like, if you're into dry cinema, this is the driest of the dry. And that may work for some people, that may not work for others. It didn't work for me this time, but I can't say it won't work for me forever. I do hope this film gets some attention at the Oscars, because, hey, good luck to it and everything else. And maybe I'll like it better later on, but for now, it's just a really big meh. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. My favorite part about it was the fact that the dead don't die was in it, and some dialogue moments, but yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't the great experience that I was expecting it to be. But you never know. It may come around again. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.